Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennick.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort studio, here's Josh Hennick.
Well, it was certainly a wild sports weekend. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. You know, March Madness, it really was a little maddening this weekend, and we'll get into some of my takeaways from the games because, you know, we didn't have any shows live on the radio on Thursday and Friday. We did do a YouTube exclusive on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennick on Thursday and Friday. I was just way too busy with things going on. But I got to say off the top, here's what we're getting into. For those of you who are just tuning in, we got to get into the Phillies. I have concerns, okay? And we're going to get into whether some of those concerns are legitimate or not today here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get your guys' thoughts and comments on the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And as I mentioned, we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. You and me for the next hour, hanging out, having conversation. Plus, I will get a little bit later this hour. What an incredible event. I wrote about it at 97.3 ESPN.com. This is the second straight weekend South Jersey turned out in Atlantic City. It was the MAC tournament the previous Saturday, and then this past Saturday, it was just as cool to see the South Jersey people turn out for a great boxing showcase. Shout out to Boxing Insider Promotions, Larry Goldberg, and everyone involved in putting the event on Saturday night. I'll give you a little bit more of a breakdown a little bit later in the hour. Of course, my article is up at 973ESPN.com as well as the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. All right. So I mentioned this last week when I was filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN, that there's always some sort of question or injury or, you know, whatever you want to quantify it. There's always something unexpected, right? When it comes to baseball. Baseball is not an exact science. It never has been. It never will be. So I totally understand. That for a lot of us out there, we are entering the Phillies season with some trepidation. And to me, the biggest story of the weekend, and listen, I can't speak for every single show. I can't listen to everything. I can't watch everything. But really, there was only one place I heard anyone even talk about the Ranger-Suarez situation. Because to me, I think the biggest concern coming out of this weekend and coming into today is how is Ranger-Suarez's back going to impact the 2025 season? And the fact that almost nobody is talking about this, I think is just perplexing to me. To me, this should be the headline question because we were told, I feel like I'm having deja vu of a couple of years ago. We were told that the strength of this team a couple of years ago was the offense. And then the offense had problems. Remember we were told a few years ago that the offense will out-hit the pitching problems. And then when it didn't, Phillies had to make adjustments at the deadline. A couple of years later, we're being told this is a great pitching staff. It's going to carry this team to 95 wins. Well, a huge part of that pitching staff is now unavailable for at least the first, if not the first two starts of the year. And who even knows how healthy he is going to be long term. This is now the third time that Ranger Suarez has dealt with a back issue that will make him miss time. And anyone who knows anything about sports science, or if you've just watched enough of the experts like your Dr. Stefania Bell on ESPN or Dr. David Chow on Pro Football Doc or any of these people who are doctors, they have all said the same thing over the years, that there's a level of diminishing returns when it comes to baseball players, or not just athletes, when it comes to injuries. Once you injure a part of your body once that injury is at a certain degree, you will never be 100% ever again. The idea being, when you have any type of injury that diminishes the stability and the strength and the health of that part of the body, you have a new 100%. You are never what you were before. You will never be. Now, you may get close to that, but your new 100% might have been 95% before. And that's why this Ranger Suarez situation is so concerning to me. Because the whole point of acquiring Jose Luzardo was to create more depth for a rotation that was already good, not great. And remember, the whole point of last season was that fifth starter spot was a black hole. That fifth starter spot was supposed to be rectified by acquiring Luzardo. And now that fifth starter spot becomes a question all over again. On the Phillies Show podcast, Phillies beat writer and reporter Todd Zalecki from MLB.com explained that Ranger Suarez will miss at least one start in April, if not more. Take a listen.
There's no reason to rush him back. He's had the back issues over his career. It derailed his entire second half last year. If it's sore right now, just take him along slowly, knock it out. They think it's a short-term thing. He might only miss one start, maybe two starts. If they start him on the injured list, they can backdate it 3 days. He could be back as early as April 8th, that first game in Atlanta, if they think he's ready by then. So it might only be one start.
It might only be one start. But there's no guarantee that that's going to start like that. Because again, you're dealing with a guy who's had this injury before. How am I supposed to have faith in this team when we're back to the same problem we had last year? And this is why, for some Philly fans, there is such an intense level of, I'm happy baseball is here, but I don't have a lot of expectations for this Phillies team. Because for so many of us, we look at a Phillies organization that has committed hundreds of millions of dollars to Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, JT Realmuto, Nick Castellanos. And this team has not been back to the World Series since 2002. And they have done very little to improve the roster since then. Mike Gill mentioned this earlier today on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. It's a very old axiom, but it still applies here. That the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. The fact that this team's only improvements this offseason were adding Jose Luzardo and Max Kepler is now coming back to bite them. And as former MLB executive Ruben Amaro Jr. said on the Phillies show, he said the Phillies are already wanting to limit Rangers' innings because, frankly, he's never been 100% healthy coming out of the spring training over the years.
They seemingly want to limit his innings early anyway, because they saw what happened last year as far as him getting out. Again, this is nothing new for Ranger. He almost never gets out of spring training healthy. And so there is a strong possibility that they could piggyback. I wouldn't be surprised by that happening. You typically like to have a guy ramp up and be ready, get to 80 or 85 pitches and be ready to roll.
There's a whole nother set of concerns. Well, even if Ranger does come back, is he only pitching 3-4 innings a start for a while? Certainly possible. It's certainly possible that now you're going to ask Taijuan Walker or Joe Ross, or they just added Cesar Hernandez to the bullpen. You're asking one of these other guys to basically come in and pick up where Ranger left off. You're asking guys like Taijuan Walker and Joe Ross, veterans, to basically be on standby because Ranger might go 3 innings, you might go 4 innings, he's on a pitch count. And it's on you to come in and deal with whatever we leave you with him. I mean, this is turning out to be an absolute potential disaster. Todd Zolecki explains what the Phillies rotation is going to be like to start the 2025 Major League Baseball season.
Zach Wheeler is starting on Thursday, opening day in Washington. Jesus Luzardo is going to pitch game 2. That's Saturday. Aaron Nola is going to pitch the series finale in Washington on Sunday. And then the home opener, Christopher Sanchez. Zach Wheeler is going to pitch the second game of that series. And then Taijuan Walker, who's now the number 5 starter, is going to pitch the series finale against the Rockies on April 3rd. And then after that, that Dodgers series is going to be Jesus Luzardo, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez.
So the good news is, because of the way the games are spread out, you don't have to deal with the 5 starter until later than usual, because you want to keep Zach Wheeler on his normal schedule. But the fact that we could be entering a season with Ranger Suarez, a guy who has been a key figure for this team in years past, all of a sudden is less than 100%, less than available, and frankly, he may be a guy that might hold this team back. It's concerning. Because again, for a team that has not done a lot to upgrade their roster over the years, for an organization that has done very little to improve upon what they already have, and now they're entering a season with a guy who is supposed to be a key player for your team in 2025, and now all of a sudden, well, even if he does come back, he might be on a pitch count. He might need to ramp up. We may miss 1 start, 2 start. They're going to limit his innings. This is already sounding like a problem. And the whole point was to bring in a guy like Luzardo to lengthen this rotation. And now all you're doing is you're taking out Ranger Suarez. You're putting Luzardo into the rotation. And now you have 4 starters. And your 5th starter, nobody knows. And I know for a fact, many of you Philly fans hear that Taijuan Walker is starting in the upcoming home series, and some of you are just cringing at that idea. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. You guys can chime in what you guys say coming up on the other side. Plus, still to come, we got more Phillies talk and Devontae Smith. He was on a podcast with Carmelo Anthony. A sentence I never thought I would say, but I digress. And he has some interesting comments to say about Jalen Hurts and his relationship with Jalen and how that impacted last season's results. All that and more still to come. Josh Hennick hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN.
Go get your game on at the Gallery Bar, Book, and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the Gallery, go to Fanatic Sportsbook, and go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Score a huge three-pointer this month during the Matt Blatt Kia Gladness Sale. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months on every new Kia Sportage and Sorento SUV in stock. Here's a steal. Get up to $5,000 more than Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. Toward the purchase of any new 2024 Kia with no payments till June. How about a 3-point play? 0 down, 0 payments until June on over 1,100 new Kias in stock, or low 1.9% financing for 60 months, plus 120% more for your trade. It's Gladness, baby, at Matt Blatt Kia in Abington, Egg Harbor Township, and Toms River, or right to your front door.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credits, $1,389 per thousand financed. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payments. Offers can't be combined. Trade less miles and dealer recon on new 2024 Kia purchase. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 4/4/25. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
You've made all your college hoops picks, but there's only one pick that's a lock every time. The Piccalilli Inn in Chemung. Stop in for all the college hoops action and order a basket of their world-famous wings, tails, and ears from one of 10 mouth-watering flavors, like spicy, hot honey, garlic parm, teriyaki, and more for eat-in or carry-out. Get $9 Blue Moon pitchers and Piccalilli game day favorites you'll only find at the Pines. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the family-owned Piccalilli Inn. For specials, join the flock and follow the pick on Facebook.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Before we get to our Eagles conversation, let's get what you guys to say over on the text, the DMs, and everything. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Also, your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See out, or like Jeff from Ocean City chiming in on the YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Jeff says, I believe the Phillies will be an excellent team in 2025. I expect them to make the NLCS and battle LA for a shot at the World Series. Well, Jeff, you are obviously very optimistic about this team then. And it sounds like that you don't look at, and listen, I will admit this. If I'm the one person who says this is a problem and I end up being wrong, I will admit it. I will. But for right here, right now, on Monday, March 24th, 2025, I do have concerns about this team. Because again, this organization refuses to improve upon what they already have. They make marginal upgrades. Now, listen, I was never a fan necessarily of a major overhaul of this roster. I was intrigued by some theories and some rumors out there this offseason, but they never came to fruition. So I didn't get excited about any of it. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Texter didn't leave their name, but I'm still going to read their message anyway. Anonymous texter says, Phillies rotation still elite. You could be the Yankees right now with Cole, Gill, and Schmidt all injured, and now their 4 and 5 starters is Warren and Carrasco. Yes, in the most literal sense, yes, the Phillies are better off than a lot of teams. But you heard the comment from Jeff from Ocean City. You're probably facing the Dodgers in the NLCS if you get there. And if you're facing the Dodgers, how confident are you that your 4-man rotation, if it is this, Wheeler, Luzardo, Nola, Sanchez, do we really consider that elite? Now, yes, they are better than a lot of teams' rotations. They have a lot more to offer than a lot of teams. But again, we had this problem last season in August and September. The 5th starter position became a black hole. And in theory, you should have and could have won more games if you weren't trotting out that mishmash of guys from Tyler Phillips to an injured Taijuan Walker and others last year. Michael Mercado, remember that? All these different guys who tried to be the 5 starter, and none of them worked. So, and frankly, the Phillies have had an issue in the back end of their rotation and their bullpen depth for the last 3 years. And while I think the bullpen is going to be interesting, I'm not as stressing that as I am some other issues. And I'm telling you guys right now, just because the Phillies are better off than the Yankees doesn't mean we shouldn't ask questions. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be like, what's going on here? What are we doing? Because if we get to the trade deadline, if we get to July, and Wheeler, Nola, Luzardo, and Sanchez are all having very good years, but that fifth spot becomes just an eyesore. If you're the Phillies, how do you not get reinforcements? And even if it's not for that specific position, reinforce the bullpen, reinforce the batting lineup. We got the news today. The Phillies have chosen Cody Clemens over Buddy Kennedy. Now, I didn't want Buddy Kennedy just because he's a Millville guy. He's a South Jersey high school graduate, and I wanted to see him on the opening day roster, which would have been a cool story. But he's right-handed. How am I supposed to look at this team now and your best bat off the bench is not an alternative to some of your best players in the lineup? The whole point of baseball strategy is I have a left-handed hitter, you bring in a left-handed pitcher, and I make a change. And I think that's what they eventually want Weston Wilson to be. But again, he's starting the year injured himself. So maybe this Cody Clemens thing is just a temporary deal, and they looked at Buddy Kennedy because he has optionality. He can move up and down because of his contract. But man, the obsession with left-handed bats in this organization is absolutely wild to me. The absolute obsession. I mean, Bryce Harper's literally telling Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic and Todd Zalecki of MLB.com that he told the Phillies, hey, if you want to go out and get Pete Alonso, I'll move to the outfield. Could have done it. You could have hurt the Mets and improved your team. And I know Pete Alonso is not the elite hitter that he used to be. But if you bring a Pete Alonso to this team, you're not asking him to be the sole power source. You're asking him to insert himself into something greater than him. And if you're telling me that I'm getting an extra 30 homers and 90 RBI from first base, and now Harper, let's say, goes to the outfield, and now you take, I don't know, Marsh or Kepler out of there, you're telling me that would have made your team better? Of course it would have. Josh Hinnick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. All right. So, moving on for the Phillies, I wanted to get to this Eagles stuff because, again, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but, and we'll get some more Phillies stuff to get to a little bit later in the show, but Devontae Smith, I got to get to this because, and I want to get the podcast name right because I've never heard of this podcast until last week. All right, here it is. It's the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast hosted by Carmelo Anthony. I mean, what a name. What a name. 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. I don't know what's more surprising. That Carmelo Anthony called his podcast that, or Carmelo Anthony has a podcast, but I digress. So we had Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith on there, and they talked a lot of different topics on this pod. But I thought the conversation that stood out to me the most was his relationship that Smitty has with quarterback Jalen Hurts. And I want you guys to hear what Smith had to say about Hurts. So it first starts out with, he gives Carmelo Anthony some background into what is the origins of his relationship with Jalen Hurts. Here's Devontae Smith on the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast with Carmelo Anthony.
So it was two reasons I went to Alabama. Jalen was one reason, and Coach Burns was the other reason. And end of the day, it's football. We two guys had the same mindset. Like, we're here to dominate. We're here to play football, win with all the extra stuff. And I think that's why the relationship was so good, and the conversations that we have, whether it's uncomfortable conversations or not, like, don't nobody get in their feelings because we have that relationship. And I think when I got drafted to Philly, man, I was happy as hell. Like, I got my dog here, you know. I know he was vouching for me, and it was just like, we about to pick up where we left off at.
And remember, Devonta Smith was with Jalen Hurts every step of the way. It was Devonta Smith who caught the game-winning touchdown from Tua Tagovailoa in the national championship game when Tua came in for Jalen Hurts. But Smith is saying, yo, Hurts is my guy. And he didn't say Tua was his guy, too. He was like, oh, yeah, Tua's great, too. No, he said, a connection with him and Jalen from day one. And that's very fascinating because I think there's always been a perception of Smith that he had the best year of his career without Jalen as his quarterback. Remember, he won the Heisman when Mac Jones was throwing him the ball. The years before that, it was Tua for the most part, the last 2 years before that. By the time Jalen started to mature as a quarterback, he was not at Alabama anymore. He was at Oklahoma. He got drafted by the Eagles. And Smith was still in Crimson Tide uniform. But for Devontae Smith, that connection with Jalen apparently was so strong. He says, hey, we're both about football. We're no nonsense. It really goes to show you that part of the reason of the Eagles' success this year was the connection and the relationships that these guys have. And Smith goes on to tell a story about what Jalen did after the 2023 season that came to fruition in the 2024 season. Take a listen.
Last year, after the season, we lost like the last 7 games. I went to his crib. We chilling, shooting pool, just talking about the season and how everything went down. We was talking about, man, that gonna be our year. We're gonna be back there. And like at that time, it was so emotional for me because it was like, bro, we really like spoke this up. And like now we hear all the work that we went through this whole offseason. Everybody talking about we ain't gonna do this, we ain't gonna do that. I feel like we're two guys that, we've been proving people wrong our whole lives, and just continue doing it, do it at the biggest stage.
Jalen Hurts is literally telling Devonta Smith, we're going to get back to the Super Bowl. And he said, I was so emotional because Jalen spoke this into existence. And it just goes to show you the bigger reason why these players play for, believe in, and fight for Jalen Hurts. And while some of you out there can argue Jalen Hurts isn't the best quarterback in the NFL, Jalen Hurts is, this or that, da-da-da-da-da, as Big Play Slay would say, the reality is that what's more important? Having a quarterback who has a high pedigree when it comes to passing ability, or is it more important to go out there with a quarterback who is a winner? And the fact that people don't want to even, to this day, Jalen Hurts won a championship. And there are people who still would say, I would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. There are still people out there who would take a Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts. There are people who literally hate Jalen Hurts so much that they will look at quarterbacks who have won diddly squat in the NFL and pick them over Jalen. You have a guy who's been with Hurts since day one of college for that guy, Devontae Smith. And he says, that's my guy. he sat down with me. He said, we were playing pool. He said, after the season. And he told me, we're going to get back to the Super Bowl. And he said, I was emotional in that game because I couldn't believe that Jalen spoke this into existence. And we played the audio clip a couple weeks ago where Chris Long said the Greenlight podcast, where he asked Jalen about, hey, go finish the job, go win that championship. And Jalen looked him dead in the eye and says, it's already done. It's already, basically almost like, for lack of a term, prophesying it into the world. Like, he was so confident. He had so much faith and belief that team was going to win a championship. And Chris Long was like, I was so impacted by it, I didn't want to say anything before the game because I didn't know if I was going to jinx it or something. And so the faith and the belief that Jalen Hurts has, it just goes beyond understanding. And I think that hearing Devontae Smith verbalize it like that is absolutely incredible to hear. And I think it just goes to show you another reason why Jalen Hurts is the man in Philadelphia, and why you could make the argument that if the Eagles quarterback was somebody else, they may not have won a championship this year. Because Jalen Hurts' greatest ability is upstairs. It's above the shoulders. It's not his shoulders. It's not his legs. It's not his athleticism or his throwing ability. It's his mental fortitude and his competitive nature. And I can't wait when we get to like July and August and we start getting those lists of who are the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And everyone's going to have Jalen Hurts not highly ranked or not highly ranked enough, because there are people who still look at this guy and look at him and don't appreciate his evolution from a running quarterback when he came out of college to a quarterback who could operate in the pocket and was able to win a championship. And by the way, he is the only quarterback in Eagles franchise history to lead his team to 2 Super Bowl appearances. Think about that the next time someone complains about the Eagles' Super Bowl winning quarterback. All right, coming up, more text on the other side, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Monday night. Coming up next, we'll recap the March Madness weekend and the incredible event in Atlantic City where all of the New Jersey Fighters stayed undefeated. We'll get into that more coming up next on 97.3 ESPN.
With GMF financing, to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's back! It's Bennett Chevy's most popular event, March Markdowns, for the entire month of March. So get to Bennett right now for savings up to 20%. That's right, you get up to 20% off. That's because Bennett sells new Chevys at the true GM supplier employee price, plus gives you all the rebates. So get to Bennett Chevy now and save even more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's largest certified dealer with great savings on every single one. And during March Markdowns, you'll get a minimum $10,000 for the worst clunker towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is the best. They're paid on your satisfaction, not your budget and how much you spend. So everybody gets our famous no pressure, friendly, and helpful service. Together, let's drive during March Markdowns at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor. which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ALL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text ALL to 321-321. That's all to 321-321.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Same game parlays and slot games for days. Double the fun with the Bally Bet app. Let's play. You can bet on football, basketball, baseball, or play blackjack, roulette, even baccarat, y'all. It's double the fun, 2 apps in one. Download it today, but only if you're 21. The Bally Bet Sportsbook and Casino app. You can win real money on your phone. No cap. Must be 21 plus, New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Bally Bet Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/news. That's ethos.com/news.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Want to stay out of the dark the next time a storm hits? Then reach out to Calvi Electric, a certified Generac dealer. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Calvi Electric, the premier electrical contractor serving South Jersey for over 115 years. Visit CalviElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Josh Hennig back here on 97.3 ESPN. So, of course, you've been listening to 97.3 ESPN. You know that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we aired all the games here on the radio as well as the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. And it was certainly a wild weekend of March. And I know there wasn't a lot of upsets, and I know there's some consternation out there about that. But I think that's part of the deal right now, right? We are in the situation we are in because the state of college basketball has necessitated it. And listen, we can get into a whole argument about whether NIL deals should be what they are and they're not. I have proposed my 2 ideas over the years to fix all of this NIL stuff, but I'm not going to, go crazy over it because, well, frankly, nobody in the NCAA offices wants to listen to my ideas because they're all too busy telling each other how wonderful each other is and not being smart, not expanding their minds, their horizons. And I think there's a lot of good ideas of how to make everything better. I think there's nothing in life that is perfect, right? There's no tournament, no league, no playoff, no overtime. There's always some area that you can get better at, right? Now, selfishly for me, all 4 of my teams for the Final Four are still there. So I'm not looking at anything I saw this weekend as shocking. Now, my picks were 13 and 11, so I'm obviously not, nailing these things left and right because I really thought that Yale and Drake were going to be this year's Cinderellas. I thought those 2 teams were going to be teams that got some upsets, made a push. I think we got to give Texas A&M with Buzz Williams and Chris Beard's Ole Miss, those 2 teams, a ton of credit. Because for as much as a lot of people criticized the SEC for having 14 teams in the tournament, the reality is that the SEC is probably a better conference than we gave them credit for. And they're proving that in this tournament. The other deal of the weekend that was a surprise to me, and I got to be honest with you guys, I am honestly shocked that New Mexico couldn't make it into the next round. I really thought that they were a real threat, but you could see Michigan State they took that close game in the first round against Bryant, and they really took it as a bit of a message. They took it as a real, hey guys, we better wake up and play basketball. And it was absolutely wild to see Saturday and Sunday, the teams that survived the first round, who advanced and who didn't. I mean, this is an Arkansas team that started the year 0-5. And Coach Calipari, this might be the greatest coaching job he's ever done. I really thought St. John was going to go to the Elite Eight. I really thought that Rick Pitino and that team were going to make a deep run. But Arkansas basically took them into the deep waters. It's like a boxing or a fight analogy, right? You have a fighter who says, I want to get out of the first 2 rounds. I don't want to win this fight in a first round explosive exchange because I want to take this guy into the deep rounds and beat them when I know their gas tank is lowest. And I think Arkansas forced St. John's into a lot of shots that they did not want to take. So those are the games I'm surprised about. I'm surprised Yale didn't make it out of the first round. I'm surprised St. John didn't make a deeper run. And I am surprised that Drake didn't get to the Final Four. But again, I have to give Texas Tech and Ole Miss and Texas A&M credit and Arkansas credit that the SEC is better than we all thought in basketball this year. Now, the picks I did get right. I told you guys on Wednesday here on the 97.3 ESPN, I was filling in for Mike Gill, I thought BYU would make a run because of the style of game that they play. And you look at the coaches who have that NBA style of basketball with their players, those are the teams that are making the deep runs. And I do believe there is something to be said for that. Teams like Arizona, teams like BYU, these are teams coached by people, by coaches, I should say, who have a certain style of basketball that they execute with. And it's a relentless style that I don't think some of the opposing teams are fully ready to deal with. So, for me, I think that what you're going to see coming up, and we'll get into this later in the week here on 97.3 ESPN, but, when you look at the Sweet 16 right now, you're looking at a situation where styles make fights, right? I don't know if Maryland has the depth to deal with Florida, and I don't think Arizona has the depth to deal with Duke either. But I'm not discounting either one of those teams because I think Arizona and Maryland both have one thing in common, is that when they are playing their best, they are among the best in all of college basketball. It's going to be on Florida and Duke to put both of their opponents on their heels. Alabama is a high-scoring team, but so is BYU. So now it's going to come down to who makes shots and who doesn't. And for the Arkansas-Texas Tech game, I think Arkansas is going to win that game because I think Calipari has got these guys bought in on a level that we didn't fully expect coming into the tournament. And then on Friday here on 97.3 ESPN, look, I got Michigan State moving on. I think they're a very good team. And I got Auburn beating Michigan. I just think that those are two games where the better team at the higher seeds. Same thing with Houston and Purdue. The big question mark on Friday is going to be Kentucky versus Tennessee. Tennessee's the better team, but Kentucky has beaten them twice. So can head coach Rick Barnes find something in the last two games and say, this is how we prevent Kentucky getting us off of our game? So there's some thoughts on March Madness. Again, you can hear the games Thursday and Friday right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, before we get out of here, coming up in less than 3 minutes, you will hear the sounder for your next opportunity to qualify for either Phillies home opener tickets or Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field. Sounder coming up in about 2 minutes from now. I didn't want to get out of here without mentioning what an incredible night it was. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Boxing Insider Promotions. We talked about it all last week here on 97.3 ESPN. Atlantic City showed up. As I wrote about it at 97.3 ESPN.com, it was the most highly attended boxing event in the showroom since 2011. And it was incredible to see not just all the New Jersey fighters perform and win, but how they won. First of all, congratulations to Julio Sanchez III. Great debut for a young man for his pro fight. A little slow out of the gate, but you saw him coming on the second and third rounds where he really started executing, when he really started to find his range, find his rhythm, and it was like his opponent didn't realize what he was in for until Julio started finding his range. And I never want to say a guy quit on a fight because I don't think he quit, but I do think there was a part of Julio Sanchez III's opponent that was like, yeah, I didn't expect this from this guy. Later in the night, you saw other New Jersey fighters, Cali Box, Damian Torello, they both won their fights. But the real headline was how Bruce Seldon Jr. and Justin Figueroa finished their fights. Seldon Jr. of Absegami High School, the evolution of this young man from being just a raw powerhouse, this like physical force, to being a much more calculated and deliberate and thoughtful fighter. He got the first knockdown, and he wasn't celebrating like he won the fight yet. He calmly went into the corner to wait for his opponent like the referee told him. And as the referee was doing the 10 count on his opponent, Gabriel Costa, you saw in Seldon a man who was saying, okay, here's what I got to do next. You could see the process building in his mind. And that was something we didn't see a year ago from him. He was just full speed ahead, pedal to the metal, whatever happens, happens. He has already in a year evolved from just a powerhouse into an actual guy who's boxing, who is competing, who is thinking through what he's doing. And it's absolutely amazing to see that evolution. And Justin Figueroa has gone through his own evolution. This is a young man who has gone from being a physically gifted fighter to being a fighter who knows what he can do and doesn't let the opponent dictate the pace of the fight to him. Ever since he got knocked down a few fights ago, which to this day I still contend was not a legitimate knockdown. It was more like a happenstance knockdown, but I digress. Justin Figueroa has shown that he is willing to execute at the highest level and be the best version of himself. And if both Figueroa and Selden Jr. keep elevating the way they have in the last year, the sky's the limit for both young men. And it's exciting to see that they're not just excelling, but over 1,400 people showed up to an event with just local fighters on the card. And I say thank you to South Jersey for treating this event the way it should be. These are some of the best young fighters in all of New Jersey. They're all up and coming. And you came out and said, we're going to support that kind of fight card. So congratulations to all the fighters on Saturday night. Congratulations to Larry Goldberg, Boxing Insider Promotions. You can check out all the information of the fight and my recap at 97.3ESPN.com. All right, you know what that sounder means. Callers 6 and 7 right now, 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Caller 6 and 7. You are in for the big Sports Bash with Mike Gill giveaway party this Thursday, Maynard's in Margate. You must be present in order to win the Phillies opening day tickets or the Metallica at Lincoln Financial Field tickets. 609-573-3776. Caller 6 and 7. You are in. And then tomorrow is the final day for you to qualify. So it's today, tomorrow, and we have capped off all the qualifiers for the big giveaway this Thursday, Maynard's in Margate. I'm Josh Hennig. This is 97.3 ESPN.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at the Cheese Board, Central Square in Linwood for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.